sit on the couch?
You may not.
If you walk with me, you'll have to wear a leash. He's tired. I don't think he's going.
Healthy and doing okay. It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, it's a little different. So it's been a while since we've gone over the distributive formula and simplifying like terms and polynomials. So I think it would be a nice day just to review the distributive formula, to look at like terms again, to look at equations that could be simplified. So this lesson would be best if you had like something to write with, or maybe like a pad and pencil, and then I can beam some questions at the bottom of the screen and do them with you. But it would be neat if you guys could copy them down and do them, you know, with me in real time. I think you'd get more out of this. So take a minute, get something to write with and some paper, and then I'm going to share a screen with you that I'd like to go over with you. And the first thing I think might be nice is just to look at some sample questions together.
Okay.
So the first thing I'd like to look at is just reviewing what the actual equation looks like. So I'm going to kind of use this white background as a means to draw on. So you'll see this equation. If you remember this from before, a parentheses b plus c is going to equal ab plus ac. Do you guys remember that? So in the sense, if you had like 3 outside the parentheses, and I had 2a plus 3, you actually combine those variables into the equation. So this would mean 3 times 2a, and that would equal 6a, plus 3 times 3b would be 9b. I'm using this pad, this Padlet, and this pen. So I'm going to work on my handwriting with you, okay? Hopefully I'll get better at this as this goes on. So I'm going to scroll down and just do another example. Let's say I have 4 parentheses 7a plus 6a. Now, in a case like this, you'll have like terms. So I would come back here, I'm multiplying from the outside, inside. So this means 4 times 7 is 28. But then I add that variable a. And in the same sense, I'd multiply from 4 to 6a. So if I know 4 times 6 is 24, but then I also have that a. Now, in a case like this, you can't leave the equation. You have to simplify it because the variables are the same. Remember, we call this like terms. And so if I have 28 plus 24, I'm going to get 52a. And that would be your final answer for something like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If you have the same variables, you have to keep simplifying the equation. Let's do another one like that. Let's say I have 3 parentheses 2b plus 3b. So I multiply from the outside inside. So this means 3 times 2b is 6b, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I go back and I multiply 3 times 3b. 3 times 3 is 9. 9. Now, in a case like this, you can't leave the equation here. You have to keep simplifying it. So 6 plus 9, now you have 15b. And that's your final answer. Okay? Let's look at some examples from the text that kind of mimic what you'd see on Tabe Academy. So I'm going to bring up a couple of those samples here. I think this one is an easy one to start with. Can you guys see that okay? Do you want me to magnify this at all? I can make it a little bit bigger. Is that better? I don't know how big your screen is at home.
Yeah,
Okay. Do you remember negative times a positive equals a negative, and positive times a positive equals a positive, negative times a negative equals a positive. So if the signs are the same, it's always positive. So in this case, you have a negative here and a negative here. So that's going to equal positive. I'm going to make this line a little bit smaller. Okay, let's try that. So I have negative 9 times negative 8. That's going to equal positive 72. And I have an n here and I have an n here. So remember, this would be n squared. Okay? And I have a negative times a negative. So that's going to be a positive again. So I know 9 times 7 is 63. I'm going to say plus 63. And I'm just going to say n. So this one would be n squared, but this one is not n squared. So can this be simplified any more than that? No, can't be. Let's look at the next one. I have negative 3b times 6b. So I know a negative times a positive is a negative. So this is going to equal negative 18b squared, because there's 2 of them. And then I have negative 3b times 6. I know 3 times 6 is 18. This would be negative 18. I'm going to write negative 18. Now, would this be b or b squared? This would just be b, because there's only one b over here. There's not one here. This would just be b, and that's it. All right, let's look at this one. I have 3m times negative 2. So this is a positive times a negative. So your answer has to be negative. So this would be negative 6. And there's only one m. So I just say negative 6m. Okay? Then I have 3m times 3m. So it's 2, 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And there's 2 m's. So this would be plus 9m squared. Now, are there any like terms here? Because this is an m, but this is m squared. So you can't simplify it any more than that. Okay, let's look at this side here. I've got a negative times a negative. That's going to equal a positive. So negative 2 times negative 9 is positive 18. There's just one t there. Okay? Sort of like a t. All right, then I have a negative 2t times positive 9t. So this is a negative times a positive. This is going to be negative 18, and there's 2 t's, so I'm going to say t squared. And that's it. Here I have a negative times a positive, so negative 7r times 8 is negative 56, and there's 1r. Then I have negative 7r times positive 3r, so negative times positive is going to be negative 21, and there's 2r, so I'm going to say r squared. And that's completely simplified. You can't do anything more than that. Okay, and this one, I have a positive times a negative, so 7 times negative 8 is going to be negative 56. Negative 56, and there's only one w there, so I'm just going to write w. Now I've got 7w times 3w, so this is going to be w squared because there's 2 of them. 7 times 3 is 21. It's positive because they're both positive. I'm going to write 21 here, if my mouse works. And it isn't. Hang on here. Okay, so I'm going to write plus 21. Hang on. There we go. And I'm going to write w squared. Okay, because I've got 2 of them. All right, now what I'd like to do is give you some examples where you have to simplify using the distributive formula. So in this case here, it'll say simplify each expression. Sometimes you'll have like terms that you'll have to combine. If you've got a paper and a pencil, try to write down some of these, and I'm going to magnify it a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. Can you see those 4 a little bit better? try to write down those 4 equations. And then I'd like to go over each of them with you. Okay, let's look at the first one together. Let's get our pen working here. So I have a negative times a positive. So a negative times a positive is going to be a negative. So I'm going to write negative 6a for that first one. Then I have negative 6 times positive 8. So I'm going to have negative 48. And this can't be simplified because one side has an a and the other side doesn't. So that's as far as you can go with that one. Let's look at number 3. So I have 6 times negative 5n. So this is a positive times a negative. That's going to equal a negative. This would be negative 30n. Then I have 6 times 7. So these are both positives. So this would be positive 42. And this can't be simplified because one side has a variable and the other side doesn't. Let's
Anna.
put 2 together. So I have 4 times 1 is 4. And I have 4 times 9x, so that's going to be 36x. Like that. Let's look at number 4. So I have 9m plus 10 times 2. So this, just like the 2 is over here, only they're notarized using a dot. Like 2 times 10, 20. 2 times 9 is going to be. You can't simplify it because there's no like terms. Okay, let's take a look at another example here. And let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, and let's again look for like terms in this. Hang on here. I think I lost it. Okay, and let's make sure my line's not too heavy. That's fine. Okay, so I have negative 4x and 5x. Notice that both of these have the same variable. So I'm at negative 4 and I'm adding 5, so I'm going to end at 1x, or you can just say x for that. Okay, and on this one, my like terms are any variable that's the same. So I have a 4n here and I have a 3n here. So I can combine those and they just become 7n. And in the same way, you can add the numbers that don't have a variable. So I have 4 plus 1, so I just simplify that to 5. And that's fully simplified. Number 5, you've got an x here and you've got an x here. Notice that this is negative and this is also negative. So your answer has to be negative 9x.
Excuse me?
And here I have a number that doesn't have a variable, and here I have a number that doesn't have a variable. So negative 8 plus 2 would just be negative 6.
Excuse me?
Yeah, how you doing?
The screen is freeze.
Is it frozen or did you just not write nothing?
Can you not see this right here? Can you see number 5?
No.
No.
I don't see number 5.
Can you see number 3?
Yeah, the number 3 I see.
Okay, that's strange. Let's try, yeah, thanks for stopping me. Now can you see it?
No,
No.
I don't see.
Even me, I can see.
Okay, let's go back to share screen and let's try that again. We're looking at this.
Okay.
Okay, now can you see it?
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Now
can
can
Thank
see it.
you.
Okay. Just
Thank
stop me if something goes wrong like that and it flips out. Can you guys see number 7?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see.
Okay. So I have an x here, negative 8x, and I have a negative 10x. They're both negative, so my answer has to be negative. And I can combine these because they both have an x. This would be negative 18x. It's not x squared because I'm not multiplying. I'm just subtracting. So that's kind of tricky. Some people say, well, you know, when do you square a variable? Only when you're multiplying, and they have to be the same variable. So in this one, I'm not going to have k squared because I'm just subtracting. This would be like 2k minus 1k.
1K.
Yeah, which is just going to equal 1k. Or you could even just write k. That's all right. Can you guys see number 11 okay?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
okay.
All right, so here I'm not multiplying, I'm just adding, and I can combine these because they both have an n. So 9n plus 3n is just going to equal 12n, okay?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to try to move this over a little bit. Can you guys see number 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So in this one, the only thing I can combine are the ones that both have v's. So I can combine these, and then I can combine numbers that don't have a variable. So 5v plus v is like saying 5v plus 1v is 6v. Here I'd write 6v. And I have 1 plus negative 6. So 1 minus 6 is going to be negative 5. Okay. This one's pretty straightforward. 11a plus 11a is going to be 22a, but not 22a squared. Because remember, I'm not multiplying, I'm just adding. This is 22a. I have 7v plus 6v. It won't be v squared, it's just going to be 7 plus 6 is 13v. Okay, and number 8 here, I've got an n here and an n here, and they're both negative. They have negative signs in front of them, so my n's have to be negative. Negative 7, negative 2 is negative 9n. I'm right, negative 9n. Then I have 6 minus 8. So this is like positive 6 over here, and this is negative 8, so my answer has to be negative 2. So that's the answer to 8. Can you guys see 10 okay?
Yes.
Okay, so these two numbers don't have a variable, so I can put them together. So negative 11 plus 3 is going to be negative 8. And then I still have this negative piece, so I can put that over here. This here means 12 times x. And there's nothing over here that has an x. So that 12x is just going to stay the same. I can't simplify it. I can simplify these two numbers, though. 11 minus 4 is going to be 7. So I'm going to say plus 7. Okay? I'm going to try to scroll down this document. Hopefully you'll still be able to see it okay. Let me go back here. I think it got booted off. And see if we can scroll down a little bit. Pull this back over. Can you guys see number 13 okay?
Yes, it's okay.
You can? Okay, good. All right, so this means to multiply from the outside, inside. So I have 3 times negative 7. That's going to be negative 21. And then I have 3 times negative 8n. So I know 3 times 8 is 24, but this is positive times a negative, so it has to be negative 24 in n. Now, when I look at my simplified answer, this has an n and this doesn't, so I can't combine these two. I just have to leave them like that. This means 8 times r, which is 8r. This means 8 times 1, so that's going to be 8. So 8r plus 8. This means 2 times 6n, that's going to equal 12n. This means 2 times negative 8. Positive times a negative is going to be negative 16. Okay? So I have negative 5 times 8v. Negative times the positive is going to be negative 40v. Then I have negative 5 times negative 2. So they're both negative, so your answer is going to be positive 10. Good. Yes, that's right. Okay, now what about this one? Number 21, there's no number here. So if there's nothing there, pretend like there's a 1. There's always a 1 there. So this is like negative 1 times positive 3a. So negative times a positive, it has to be negative 3a. Yeah. So negative 1 times negative 3, so that would be like a negative times a negative is a positive. So I'm going to say plus 3. That one's kind of confusing because there's no number there. Okay, I'm going to try to scroll over to the side, and hopefully I won't lose the whole document here. Okay, can you guys see 14 okay?
Yes.
Good, good, okay. I'm learning how to do this with you. Okay, so I have negative 8 times 1 is going to be negative 8. Negative times a positive, negative 8 times 5 is going to be negative 40 m. I can't combine these because one has an m and the other one doesn't, so no like terms there. Okay, I have 8 times 7x. They're both positive. I know 8 times 7 is 56, and I have that x there, so I'm going to write 56x. And I have 8 times 8. They're both positive, so that's just going to be plus 64. Number 18, I have a negative times a positive. So negative 3 times positive 8 is going to be negative 24. Then I have negative 3 times negative b. So it has to be positive. Negative, negative. I'm going to say plus 3b.
3b.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at number 20 here. I've got negative 2 times x. And remember, if there's no number in front of the x, then it's like a 1.
1.
So like this would be like negative 2 times 1 is just negative 2x. Then I have negative 2 times negative 5 is going to be positive 10. That's it. Number 22, I've got negative 2 times 7. That's negative times a positive, so that has to be negative 14. Negative 2 times negative 2n. Negative negatives be positive 4n,
That's
right?
14.
And I can't put these together because this one doesn't have an n and this one does. So we're going to say these do not have like terms. So I can't simplify it any more than that. I'm going to see if I can scroll this down a little bit. There's a few more that I'd like to do on this that can be simplified. And I'm going to try to move this over a little. Can you guys see number 25 okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so negative n plus 4 parentheses n plus 1. So for these questions, you will have like terms. You'll have variables that are the same that you can put together, you know, after you multiply. So let's do the parentheses first. 4 times n means 4n. 4 times 1 just means plus 4. But then I still have this over here. So I'm going to bring that negative n over here. And then I'm going to see that I have like terms, this 4n and this n. I can put those together. This is like saying 4 minus 1. So even though there's not a 1 in front of the n, there's a 1 there. It's assumed that there's one n. So I have 4 minus 1 is 3n. And then I have this 4 right here. And it doesn't have a variable, so I can't do anything with it. So I'm just going to say plus 4. And that's it. In the same sense, this will be simplified because you've got this negative 7 over here. So I'm going to do the distributive formula first. Negative 2 times negative 3k. Negative times a negative is going to be positive 6k. Then I have a negative 2 times positive 4. Negative positive is negative 8. And then I got this thing. I'm going to bring this over here, and I'm going to say minus 7. So your like terms are the numbers in this one that don't have a variable, the negative 8 and the negative 7. You can put those together. So if I have minus 8, minus 7, I'm going to get negative 15. And then you still have this 6k over here. So I'm just going to bring that over here. I'm going to say plus 6k. And that's it. You guys see number 29 okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to multiply outside, inside 6 times negative 4x. So 6 times 4 is 24. But since it's positive times a negative, it'll be negative 24. And I've got this x. So negative 24x. 6 times 3, they're both positive, is 18. And then here's your like term, this negative 4. So I'm going to bring that all the way over here because I want to simplify this. So I'm going to say minus 4. So I can't do anything with the negative 24x because it's the only one like that has an x. But I can do something with 18 minus 4. So I know 18 minus 4 is going to be 14. And I have negative 24x minus 24x. And that's your answer. All right, let me see if I can drag this over a little bit, and we'll look at a few more. Can you guys see 26 okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I have negative 3 times 1, that's going to be negative 3. Then I have negative 3 times negative 3x. I know 3 times 3 is 9. They're
9.
both negative, so it's going to be positive 9
Positive.
and 1x. So I'm going to say plus 9x. But then I've got this 2x over here. So I'm going to bring that over to simplify this equation. So I say plus 2x. And now I can see that I have like terms. I have a 9x and I have a 2x. So if I put those together, I get 11x. And I got this negative 3 over here. I can't do anything with that. So I'm just going to say minus 3. And it's simplified. This one's tricky. Number 28 just has a minus sign here. What does this mean? It means that there's a secret 1 hiding right there. This is like saying negative 1 times negative 8 is positive 8. Negative 1 times positive 4p is now negative 4p because I have a negative times a positive. Then I bring this over to my equation that I'm trying to simplify. So I have negative 3p, so I'm going to put that here.
3p.
So now I've got like terms. I've got a negative 4p and I have a negative 3p. Combine these. So negative 4 and negative 3 is going to be negative 7p. And I have this 8. So I'm going to say plus 8. Can you guys see number 30 okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do the distributive formula first. 3 times 1 is 3. And then I have 3 times 8n. I know 3 times 8 is 24, and that n. So I'm going to say plus 24n. And then I've got this one over here. So I'm going to bring that over to simplify my equation. 3n. So I'm going to say plus 3n. So these are your like terms. They're like terms because they have the same variable.
Same variable, yeah.
Yeah, so 24 plus 3, that becomes 27. And then I've got this 3 over here that does not have a like term, so I just say plus 3. And that's that. Let's look at a few more. Let me see if I can drag this over and scroll down a little. And pull it back over here. I don't know.
Almost there.
Okay, can you guys see 30? Can you guys see 31 okay?
Yeah.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. All right. So I've got 5 times 4. I know 5 times 4 is 20.
20.
And then I have 5 times 3r. They're both positive. So that just becomes 15r. Then I've got this negative 2, and I'm going to bring this over for like terms. So I'm going to say minus 2. So the numbers that go together are going to be this, this 20 here and this negative 2. So if I do 20 minus 2, I'm going to get 18. And I've got this 15r. I can't do anything with that, so I just rewrite it. Plus 15r, and that's it. Here's another tricky one. It just has this negative sign outside the parentheses. So there's a 1 there. So negative 1 times negative n just becomes positive n. Negative 1 times positive 2 is going to be negative 2. And then I've got this over here. So I'm going to rewrite that over here to look for like terms. So I have negative 2n, and I have an n over here. So if I have positive n minus 2n, it's going to leave negative 1n or just negative n. I'll write a 1 here so it's less confusing. So I'm going to say negative 1n minus 2. That's a tricky one. Let's look at number 32. I'm going to try to scroll over. There we go. Can you see 32 okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I have 3 times m is 3m. And then I have 3 times 4 is plus 12.
12.
And then I've got this, don't forget this negative 1. So I'm going to pull that all the way over here. Minus 1. So my like terms are the numbers that don't have a variable. 12 minus 1, that's 11. Then I have this 3m, so I can say plus 3m. And that's simplified. Last one, negative 3 times 5. Negative times a positive is going to be negative. So this is negative 15. Negative 3 times 2x is going to be negative 6x.
6x.
And then I've got this number here. I need to bring that over.
-7.
Negative 7. So my like terms are, again, the two numbers that don't have a variable, that don't have x. So negative 15 and negative 7 is negative 22. And then I have this negative 6x. I just rewrite that because there's nothing else with an x.
Yep.
Negative 6x. And that's your answer. Any questions on these?
No.
We okay? All right, this
Yes.
part where I let you guys work on some of this on your own. You can work on IXL. You can work on TABE Academy. Same link for Wednesday's class. We'll work on polynomials, multiplying polynomials on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And I'll send you a reminder just like I did today. And
Okay.
anything else that I can help you with. And hopefully it won't be long where we'll see each other in person.
Yeah.
And you remember,
hope-
hey, remember
we
all those
hope
Zoom
so.
classes we did? I'll be like, yes, I remember. But until then, I hope that you guys are safe. And if you guys need anything, feel free to call me, text me, and let me know how you're doing, because this is something that we're in this together, and the sooner that we can get through all this and come back together again, the better. Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
All right.
Teacher.
So I'm gonna let
Thank
you go.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, teacher.